Imagine waking up in the middle of the night with a stabbing pain shooting through your feet. Your hands feel like thousands of tiny needles are piercing them all at once. You try to shake it off, but the tingling just will not go away. You get up to walk, but your feet feel numb, like they are wrapped in thick layers of cotton. This is not just discomfort, this is nerve damage, and millions of adults over 60 are living with it right now, not knowing there is a simple solution that could change everything. There is a medical professional who has spent years working with patients suffering from nerve damage. She has seen countless people walk into her office barely able to feel their own fingers, struggling to button their shirts, dropping things constantly, and living in fear of falling. But she has also seen something remarkable. She watched a 67-year-old woman regain sensation in her fingertips in just 14 days. That same woman went from not being able to sew, her lifelong passion, to creating beautiful quilts again within 3 months. This transformation did not require expensive treatments or dangerous medications. It required one simple nutrient that most people over 60 are missing. The emotional toll of nerve damage goes far beyond physical pain. It steals your independence. It takes away the activities you love. It makes you afraid to walk down your own hallway. Millions of people are suffering right now, and most of them have no idea that relief could be just weeks away. The medical community has known about this solution for years, but somehow it remains one of the best-kept secrets in healthcare. Today, that changes. You are about to discover the exact vitamin your nerves desperately need to heal. You will learn why most treatments fail, and what the correct dosage actually is. Most importantly, you will find out about one common mistake that blocks results even when people are taking the right supplements. If you are experiencing any kind of nerve discomfort, take a moment right now to think about your symptoms. Do your hands or feet tingle, especially at night when you are trying to sleep? Have you noticed trouble sensing whether something is hot or cold? Maybe you have difficulty with simple tasks like buttoning your clothes or picking up small objects. Perhaps you have balance problems that make you hesitate before standing up or walking. Or maybe you live with a constant burning sensation in your feet that never seems to go away. If any of these sound familiar, you need to hear what comes next, because untreated nerve damage does not stay the same. It gets worse. When nerve damage goes untreated, the consequences can be devastating. You can lose sensation permanently, making it impossible to feel injuries or burns until serious damage is done. Falls become more likely, and a simple fall at our age can mean broken bones, hospitalization, and months of recovery. Independence slips away as tasks that used to be second nature become impossible challenges. Your quality of life diminishes day by day, and what started as occasional tingling becomes a daily prison of pain and limitation. But here is what you need to understand. None of this is inevitable. Your nerves can heal, but only if you give them what they need. Think of your nerves like electrical wires running throughout your entire body. These wires carry messages from your brain to every part of you, telling your muscles to move, helping you feel temperature and texture, keeping you balanced and coordinated. But just like electrical wires need insulation to work properly, your nerves need a protective coating. This coating is called myelin, and it keeps nerve signals traveling smoothly and accurately. As we age, especially after 60, this protective insulation begins to break down. When that happens, nerve signals misfire, messages get scrambled. That is when you start feeling tingling, numbness, and that terrible burning sensation. The breakdown of nerve insulation is not just a natural part of aging that you have to accept. It happens because your nerves are missing one critical nutrient. Without this nutrient, the protective coating continues to deteriorate. Nerve signals become weaker and more erratic. But when you provide this nutrient in the right form and the right amount, something amazing happens. Your nerves begin to rebuild that protective coating. The tingling starts to fade, sensation returns, balance improves. The nutrient your nerves are crying out for is vitamin B1, also called thiamine. Vitamin B1 is not optional for nerve health. It is absolutely essential. Without adequate B1, your nerves cannot repair themselves no matter what else you do. They simply do not have the raw materials needed to rebuild that protective myelin coating. But when you restore B1 levels, especially using the right form of this vitamin, nerve damage can actually reverse. This is not about managing symptoms or learning to live with discomfort. This is about genuine healing and restoration of nerve function. Consider what happened with a 72-year-old man who could barely grip a coffee cup anymore. He had been dropping things for months, and his hands felt completely numb most of the time. Within 6 weeks of starting the right form of B1, he could shake hands firmly again. He could grip a steering wheel without fear. A 65-year-old woman who had not walked without holding on to walls for over a year started walking confidently on her own after 8 weeks. A 70-year-old grandfather who had given up playing with his grandchildren because he could not feel his feet regained enough sensation to go on walks with them again. These are not rare exceptions. This is what happens when you give your nerves what they actually need. Using another comparison, think of your nerves like a car engine. The engine might be perfectly fine, well-built, and capable of running smoothly. But if you do not put oil in it, that engine will start making terrible noises. It will overheat. Eventually, it will stop working altogether. The problem was never the engine itself. The problem was missing one essential element. Your nerves are the same way. When B1 levels drop too low, your nerves start sending out distress signals. You feel pins and needles. You experience numbness. You become afraid to walk because your feet do not tell you where the ground is anymore. The nerves are not necessarily damaged beyond repair. They are just starving for the one nutrient they need to function properly. When B1 is finally restored to healthy levels, the transformation begins immediately at the cellular level. Your body starts directing B1 to the areas that need it most, and for most people over 60 with nerve symptoms, that means the nerves in the hands and feet. The repair process starts with the most damaged nerves. That protective coating slowly begins to rebuild. Nerve signals that were misfiring start traveling correctly again. Week by week, the tingling lessens. Sensation gradually returns. The burning pain that has tormented you for months or years finally starts to fade away. But here is the problem. Most people over 60 are not getting enough B1, and they have no idea. You might be thinking that you eat a healthy diet, so surely you are getting enough vitamins. That is what most people believe, but the research tells a very different story. Studies show that up to 1/3 of adults over 60 are deficient in vitamin B1, 1 out of every 3 people. That means if you are sitting in a room with 2 friends your age, statistically one of you does not have enough B1 for your nerves to function properly. This is not because people are eating poorly, though diet does play a role. There are 3 major reasons why B1 deficiency is so common in people over 60, and you need to know about all 3 of them. The first reason is that as we age, our stomachs produce less acid. That might sound like a good thing if you have ever had heartburn, but stomach acid is actually essential for absorbing vitamins from food. With lower stomach acid, even if you are eating foods rich in B1, your body simply cannot absorb it efficiently. The B1 passes right through your system without getting into your bloodstream where it is needed. The second reason is medications. If you take diabetes medications, water pills for blood pressure, or heartburn medications, you need to know that all of these can deplete your B1 levels. These are some of the most commonly prescribed medications for people over 60, and they are quietly stealing the one vitamin your nerves need most. The third reason is our modern food supply. Whole grains used to be rich in B1, but modern food processing strips it away. White rice, white flour, and refined cereals contain almost no B1 compared to their whole grain versions. Even when foods are enriched with vitamins, the form of B1 used is often poorly absorbed. You might look at a nutrition label and think you are getting enough B1, but your body is only absorbing a small fraction of what is listed. This combination of reduced absorption, medication interference, and depleted food sources creates a perfect storm for B1 deficiency in people over 60. There was a 71-year-old man who came in for treatment with worsening numbness in both feet. He described it as walking on stumps. He could not feel the floor beneath him, and he had already fallen twice in the past year. His doctors had told him this was just normal aging and that he would have to learn to live with it. But when his B1 levels were tested, they were barely detectable. He had been taking 3 different medications, and all 3 were known to deplete B1. Nobody had ever mentioned this to him. Nobody had ever tested his levels. Within 2 weeks of starting high-dose benfotiamine, the specific form of B1 that works best for nerve damage, he started feeling tingling in his toes. Not painful tingling, but the good kind, the kind that means nerves are waking up again. By 6 weeks he could feel the ground under his feet. By 3 months his fear of falling was completely gone. If you are over 60 and experiencing any nerve symptoms, testing your B1 levels should be one of the first things you do. This is not something to put off or ignore. Every week that passes with low B1 levels means more damage to your nerve coating. The longer the deficiency continues, the harder it becomes to reverse the damage completely. Early intervention makes all the difference between full recovery and permanent limitation. But testing is just the first step. What you do next is even more important. And this is where most people make critical mistakes that sabotage their results. The form of B1 you choose makes an enormous difference. You cannot just walk into a store, grab any bottle of thiamine off the shelf and expect results. Regular thiamine, the kind you find in most basic supplements, is water-soluble and poorly absorbed. Most of it never makes it into your cells where it is needed. It gets filtered out by your kidneys before it can do any good. This is why people take regular B1 supplements for months and see little to no improvement. They are taking the wrong form. The form that actually works for nerve damage is called benfotiamine. This is a fat-soluble form of B1 that your body absorbs much more efficiently. It crosses into nerve cells easily and stays in your system longer, giving it time to do the repair work your nerves need. The dosage matters just as much as the form. Most B1 supplements contain only 10 to 25 milligrams. That might be enough to prevent severe deficiency diseases, but it is nowhere near enough to reverse nerve damage. For nerve repair, you need between 150 and 300 milligrams of benfotiamine daily. If your symptoms are severe, starting at the higher end of that range makes sense. Do not worry about taking too much. B1 is water-soluble, which means your body simply eliminates what it does not need. There are no known cases of B1 toxicity from oral supplements, even at very high doses. The real danger is not taking enough to make a difference. How you take your B1 supplement is just as important as which form and how much you take. Benfotiamine is fat-soluble, which means it absorbs best when taken with food that contains some fat. Taking it on an empty stomach wastes most of the supplement. It passes through without being absorbed properly. The ideal approach is to take your benfotiamine every morning with breakfast, especially if your breakfast includes foods with healthy fats like eggs, avocado, nuts, or yogurt. This maximizes absorption and ensures your nerves get the full benefit throughout the day. Timing your dose matters more than most people realize. Taking B vitamins late in the day or at night can interfere with sleep for some people because B vitamins support energy production. Taking your supplement in the morning with breakfast gives you the benefits during your waking hours when you need them most. Consistency is absolutely critical. Your nerves are not going to heal overnight. They need a steady, reliable supply of B1 every single day to rebuild that protective coating layer by layer. Missing doses or taking supplements sporadically will slow your progress dramatically. Set a reminder if you need to. Put your supplement bottle right next to your coffee maker. Do whatever it takes to make this a non-negotiable part of your morning routine. Now let us talk about what you can actually expect to feel as your nerves begin to heal. During the first week, many people notice increased energy levels. That brain fog that has been hanging over you starts to lift. Your mood improves. You might not notice dramatic changes in nerve symptoms yet, but these early signs tell you that your body is responding. By the second week, the tingling often becomes less intense. Your hands start responding more quickly when you try to pick something up. You become more aware of your feet when you walk. These might seem like small changes, but they represent real nerve healing happening beneath the surface. Weeks 3 and 4 bring more noticeable improvements. The sensation in your fingertips becomes clearer. You can button shirts more easily. You feel more confident about your balance. You drop things less often. The burning pain that used to keep you awake at night starts to diminish. By months 2 and 3, many people experience dramatic transformation. The burning pain that tormented you for so long is gone completely. Numbness has resolved or reduced so much that you barely notice it anymore. You return to activities you had given up on. You walk without fear. You sleep through the night. You feel like yourself again. Remember that woman mentioned at the beginning, the 67-year-old seamstress who could not feel her fingertips? Her name is Margaret, and her story deserves to be told in full. For 2 years, Margaret watched her ability to sew slowly disappear. Sewing was not just a hobby for her, it was her identity. She had made quilts for every grandchild, every wedding, every special occasion in her family for 40 years. But as the numbness in her fingers worsened, she could no longer thread a needle. She could not feel the fabric texture that told her if her stitches were right. She gave away her sewing machine because using it had become impossible. She fell into depression, feeling like she had lost a part of herself. Margaret's daughter convinced her to get her vitamin levels tested, and that is when everything changed. Her B1 level was critically low. She started taking 300 milligrams of benfotiamine every morning with her breakfast. In just 14 days, she felt a tingling sensation returning to her fingertips. It was not painful. It was the feeling of nerves waking up after a long sleep. By 6 weeks, she could button her own shirt without help for the first time in a year. At 3 months, she asked her daughter to bring back her sewing machine. 6 months later, she completed a quilt for her newest great-grandchild. When she talks about this experience now, she says it gave her back more than just the ability to sew. It gave her back her purpose, her joy, and her independence. Before you start any new supplement, there are important warnings you need to hear. First, always test your vitamin B1 levels before starting supplementation. This gives you a baseline to measure against and confirms that deficiency is actually part of your problem. Second, if you have kidney disease or if you are taking multiple medications, consult with your healthcare provider before starting high-dose B1. While B1 is generally very safe, your specific health situation might require adjustments. Third, if you take diabetes medications or water pills, you need to monitor how B1 affects you, because improving nerve function can change how your body responds to these medications. Your dosages might need adjustment as your nerves heal. Vitamin B1 does not work alone. It functions as part of a team with other B vitamins, especially B6 and B12. These 3 vitamins work together synergistically, meaning they enhance each other's effects. Taking B1 by itself will help, but taking it alongside adequate B6 and B12 will accelerate your results significantly. This is why many healthcare providers recommend a high-quality B-complex supplement that contains therapeutic doses of all 3. When choosing a B-complex, make sure it contains B1 in the form of benfotiamine, at least 100 milligrams of B6, and at least 1,000 micrograms of B12. Avoid bargain supplements with tiny doses that do not provide therapeutic benefits. Here is a practical 4-week action plan to get started on your healing journey. In week 1, schedule an appointment to get blood tests for B1, B6, and B12. Do not wait for symptoms to get worse. While you are waiting for test results, start taking benfotiamine immediately. You do not need to wait for results to begin supplementation, because the risk of taking B1 when you do not need it is essentially zero, while the risk of waiting with untreated nerve damage is significant. In week 2, add a high-quality B-complex supplement to work alongside your benfotiamine. Continue taking both every morning with a meal containing fat. During weeks 2 through 4, track your symptoms daily. This does not need to be complicated. Just take 1 minute each evening to write down how your hands and feet felt that day. Rate your tingling, numbness, and pain on a simple scale from 1 to 10. Note any activities that became easier or any new sensations you experienced. This tracking serves 2 purposes. First, it helps you notice gradual improvements that you might otherwise overlook. When you see yourself going from an 8 in pain to a 4 over 3 weeks, that is powerful motivation to continue. Second, it gives you concrete information to share with your healthcare provider. At week 4, schedule a follow-up appointment to review your progress and discuss any necessary adjustments. There are additional steps you can take to support nerve healing beyond supplementation. Always take your B vitamins with food, never on an empty stomach. Avoid alcohol because it depletes B vitamins and directly damages nerves, counteracting all your healing efforts. Eat foods naturally rich in B1 like sunflower seeds, pork, trout, and green peas. These foods provide additional nutrients that work alongside supplements. Stay well hydrated because proper hydration supports nerve function and helps your body transport nutrients where they are needed. These might seem like small things, but they add up to create the optimal environment for nerve healing. If you have loved ones over 60, share this information with them. Nerve damage is so common in this age group, and most people are suffering unnecessarily because they do not know about this simple solution. You might save someone from years of pain and limitation. You might help someone avoid a fall that could have devastating consequences. You might give someone back their independence and quality of life. This information is too important to keep to yourself. Pass it on to anyone who might benefit. The path forward from nerve damage is not complicated, but it does require action. You cannot heal nerves that are starving for B1 by hoping the problem goes away on its own. You cannot reverse damage by accepting it as inevitable aging, but you can take control starting today by testing your levels, choosing the right form of B1, taking the correct dosage, and staying consistent with your supplementation. Every single day that you provide your nerves with what they need is another day of healing. Those protective coatings rebuild bit by bit. Sensation returns gradually. Function improves steadily. Within weeks, you will start feeling the difference. Within months, you can reclaim the independence and quality of life you thought was gone forever. Your nerves have an amazing ability to heal when given the right support. That stabbing pain does not have to be your reality. The numbness that makes you afraid to walk can fade away. The tingling that keeps you awake at night can stop. The activities you have given up can become possible again. All of this is within reach, starting with one simple nutrient that your body is desperately asking for. Do not wait another day to begin your healing journey. Your nerves are ready to repair themselves. They are just waiting for you to give them what they need.